Just a sec. Okay. Just a sec. And we're live. Okay. So welcome to the Gno.land developer call for the 31st of May. We're going to start the agenda off. So today we have quite a few community members, and we usually start the meetings with a community update. We've got the on-block team. Do you guys have updates that you want to share and highlight today, other than the fact that you'll be busy at Biddle Asia and ETH Seoul?
All right, yeah, I just got two quick updates to share with everyone. The first one being that we're almost complete with our first integration on TM2JS with Adina, and we're hoping to ship it by this Friday. And we're going to keep swapping out our existing libraries with the TM2JS wherever applicable to make them as tightly integrated as possible. And the second part is a bit more exciting. We're actually co-hosting a meetup with the core Gno team in co-states with a couple of community partners being Iterative DAO, Cosmos Station, and Biddle Asia. And this is going to be an in-person live meetup in Seoul, and it's scheduled on June 5th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we're going to have a few keynote sessions with Manfred, Dong-won, our CEO, and a couple of guys from Cosmos Station and co-states. So we're also going to serve complimentary food and drinks. So if you're going to be in Korea for either East Seoul or Biddle Asia, feel free to stop by. And although everything's free, we do have a mandatory registration. So I'm going to drop a link in chat. So if you guys, so whoever think is interesting, please stop by, and I hope to see you guys at the meetup. And yeah, that's pretty much it from our side.
Okay, so I posted in the on the channel. Also, Manfred will be speaking at ETH Seoul and Biddle Asia. All of that is on our Twitter handle. Is there anything else from you guys on block? Nothing on the token.
I think that's it for this week.
Okay, cool. So then we also have a new community member on the call, Antoine, who's working at Territory.
Yep. Hello, guys. Yeah, maybe I can make a quick sum up of what we started. This week we integrated Adena wallet to just have like a first wallet monitoring on Gno.land testnet. So it's finished right now. And on the other side, the most important work is to start on DAO contracts. Basically, we have GK Gopher and Norman who are working right now on two things. The first thing is to build various DAO standards, like I would say templates for DAO creation. But the target is to focus on moderation DAO that can be useful later for social feed and boards, etc. So, and of course, we'll try to integrate this DAO contract into an UI that allow the community to launch a DAO, experiment various things on testnet. And I don't know if Norman is here, but yeah, maybe not today to make a demonstration about the DAO deployer, because it's quite weak at the moment. But maybe next time we'll be able to share some UI and contract integration.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Zuma, can you just make a quick reminder about what territory and what's the goal with Gno and territory?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Maybe just to explain the vision is to create a Web3 resilient operating system that is multi-chain experience. So our goal is to gather a lot of features into a single application that will be on desktop and mobile. And current state is we already delivered an NFT marketplace using Cosmosm, a social feed, which is basically like a Twitter-like but decentralized. Name service, of course, and various like I would say common features. But the future for us is to we are preparing the beta version that will allow organizations to use all these features. So basically, you will be able to create a DAO. For example, to manage the account that will sell services on the freelance service marketplace, and maybe this DAO will be able to will want to launch an NFT connection to found a new project, etc. So each feature is both can be used as a user and organization. And of course, the future for us is to duplicate all features we made, but make it using Realms and Gno.land. And we believe that the current state of the project is a kind of beta version that will allow us to grow a community, present them all the vision, etc. And of course, be ready for the mainnet on Gno.land and push all dApps that are built on Gno.land using our dApp store to like promote all developers projects, etc. If you want to test the current product, which is basically the alpha version, you can go to app.territory.com. I'll share the link in the chat. And next week we will release the beta version. And basically, the June month is important for us because we'll merge and release a lot of features, and probably also the desktop version very soon.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so moving on quickly to what we had. I think Sage isn't here, but we do have Zach, our resident tinker. I'm not sure if you're up for talking about it quite yet, but I did notice your new realm demo.
Yeah,
to highlight it and get some attention there.
Yeah, I can just give a quick overview. So I'm still playing around with the realms in Gno.land. The last 2 weeks I made edits to previous realms I was working on, like the microblog that's living on PR 791. I had Morgan suggested doing aliasing with the user realm, and I did that. Works really well. I thought it was really cool that you just import another realm and it just works. I'll be writing up some notes about the microblog process that I went through. I think it might be helpful for people like me that come from Go to get into Gno. But then this new realm, in the last week, I delved into this ERC 721 tokens. And I thought it would be a neat example of a smart contract to have like a text-based NFT inside a realm that only accepts specific kinds of text. So in this case, it's haikus. So the realm only accepts haikus, and you can enter them in there. And then once they're in there, you can share them, collect them. They have their provenance, that you can see who created them, but you can give them to other people like an NFT. So that's living on PR 860. It's working well, but I did find that I had to alter the VM a little bit to get it to work. Namely, I ran into like a little issue bundling assets. In the VM, I had a dictionary of words, and it was 240 kilobytes, and it kind of required increasing transaction limits to get it to import into the AVL tree. I don't know if that's the best way of doing it. So offline, maybe if people can take a look and give me some notes about how to best include assets into Realm, that would be really great. It may not be the best way I've done it, but I'm open to other alternatives. Yeah, but it does work, and you can see I kind of wrote out how I made it work and maybe why it's not the best way to do it. But yeah, still learning and still having a lot of fun in the Gno.land stuff.
Repeat again what PR number is.
Yeah, it's 860 here. I'll put a link here.
And can you just repeat what's your problem with the word list.gno file of 25,000 lines?
Yes, I had 240 kilobyte dictionary, basically a syllable dictionary, so I could check that the haiku had the right number of syllables. And I imported it in the init function into an AVL tree, so I could do a quick lookup of it. But it required more gas, so I increased the max gas limit. It required some more time because of computing, so I increased the timeout broadcast. And then it required more cycles, so I had to increase the max cycles. And then also transaction byte limit, I had to increase.
Okay.
There's a single commit with all the changes I made to the VM, so you can see specifically what I did. But like, I had to do each one. It wasn't working until I got them all in there. And again, it's probably, if there's another way to do it, that would be great. I may have done it a very naive way.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will review. Okay, I will review the PR, and I encourage other people to look at this, because yes, it's funny to discover such limits and think about gas limits. How gas limits make sense today. I have an idea where maybe we can keep the current limits by offloading what you do in the init function directly in Go, in the manner that, I don't know, the stringer generate function in Go works. Maybe we can try to generate GNO files based on something instead of having init function, making parsing and everything. But
yeah. Like bundling the asset better, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, just one question. What was the bit about transaction gas limits?
So I had to increase the max gas by 1,000 times. I think because the init function, when I started up the realm, it cost too much gas.
Got it. We have, I think, an unrelated problem with the mempool, and that's when you send the transaction, the gas limit that you actually specify within the transaction is what's sort of taken as the source of truth, even though the transaction itself takes way less gas. So you can have a situation where you are building a block and it pops a transaction from the mempool, and it takes basically the gas limit from the transaction, and it says, okay, I can build one block with this transaction. I can put one transaction in this block, and you basically end up with a single transaction block, even though you could have probably fit in more transactions there, because you're looking at whatever was the gas limit the user gave you, and the user cannot estimate it upfront. They need to basically give you a limit before they send the transaction. This is one of the issues that I think we have. I'm not sure if we have a GitHub issue on this, but yeah, just to keep in mind.
Yeah, that sounds, it could be related. Yeah, thanks.
And maybe Albert, you can just explain what's your vision of using your new Merkle package to support large airdrops, because probably you have similar needs, because Merkle tree can help improving the performance when updating the tree. But do you have an idea on how you want to init the tree with many entries?
So on the Merkle tree package, and so the Merkle airdrop realm that will be released soon. The thing is, it's on the other way. You just upload the Merkle hash, and all the computation of the trees is executed off chain. So the idea is that you just send your Merkle hash, and when you want to prove something, you just send your Merkle proof. And so the realm will just check that the values is inside of the hash, and so then you have like a closed list to just avoid a double claim, and that's it. Maybe that could be a solution for you.
So yeah, maybe let's link your PR about airdrop based Merkle based airdrop.
There is no PR for the realm for the moment because it's waiting for Prevrim to be merged. When Prevrim is merged, I can push the realm contract.
Okay.
But I will put a note to ping this.
Anyway, Zach, I think we have many two ways to manage this. No, three ways. One is about trying to make more code generation off-chain. So basically removing the init function you have here. Another one is about increasing the gas limit, but maybe we should have, I don't know, some constraints. Maybe it's just when you add a package, or I don't know actually, but I think it makes sense to increase gas limits. I'm just not sure if it should be a unique rule or something with constraints. And the third way is about maybe trying to experiment with custom packages allowing to basically have not a unique init function, but either something where you can fill the database with, I don't know, 10, 20 codes, like a pagination, but for insertions. Or the opposite, trying to make everything off-chain and use the chain to keep proofs. So just hash of a Merkle tree that can be known by the chain from an hash point of view, and from the browser or database or even central server with the whole database. So at the end, the chain is here just as a proof and not anymore as a computing power. But clearly, I would love to see your PR being autonomous and without a Merkle tree, something fully on chain. So maybe it's a good thing also to consider just code generation, or maybe pagination for the init function. I think we'll have many contracts that at some point will need to have a long initialization. So another way is to maybe have a dedicated exported function with an assertion on whether it's an admin or not, and maybe you can block all the contracts before the initiation is finished, and then you have the time you want and how many calls you want to initialize the contract. I think that most of the time, what other chains will do, for instance, with Cosmos SDK chains, when people need to manage airdrops and I don't know, to redelegate many things at the same time, at some point you will have a limit in terms of transactions or gas. And most of the time, the goal will be to split the load into small transactions that will be executed in a series.
Yeah, this makes sense. I think the 860 is a little complicated, so I'll lift out the asset bundling into a specific issue that I can go through these and try. I'll break it out into a small POC.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Okay. So then I think that covers it with the community updates. So do we want to start maybe Jay on an IBC integration update?
I'm not sure Jay is there.
Okay. So we can move on then. Since I think Morgan's here, shall we go over the native binding issue?
Sure. Okay. So I'll pull up the link in the chat so that everyone's taking that control on. Can you all hear me right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is a continuation on what I was saying a couple of weeks ago. So I got around making proof of concept of the idea I had in native bindings. There are currently a couple of issues in terms of having it cooperate with the VM, and a couple of places where it did some very nice hack in order to get it around. But the summary is that with the PR, we already have a very bare bones code generator, which automatically, which goes over the standard libraries packages and can automatically build a list of all the functions in the standard libraries which are external, those definitions, so that they don't have a function body. They're just defined, but not. They're just declared, but not defined, as you would say, like in the C world. Yeah, I think now it's only like working in about 5 functions. So that's the math package and the SHA-256 package, which don't rely on the machine work. But of course, the next step is to continue on this proof of concept to allow it to work also like in the STD package, which makes heavy use of the machine to give data about the call. And yeah, with doing the STD package comes also the opportunity to document the STD package and have it as a documentation which is viewable with the Gno.land, which is the other part of the work I've been doing for the past few months. In this front, like what I'm looking for right now, if anyone who wants to take a look, is to just look at the code, look at the implementation, and tell me where I've been horribly wrong, because I'm not terribly an expert on the Gno VM. And yeah, if you have any ideas of how this could be done better, I think like there are potentially some design flaws or some points where things could be better than than my current state of ideas. Then please comment and pitch in. Yeah, if anybody has questions or wants to post something related to this, I'm all ears. Yes, this is just wanted to give a quick update in this front.
Yeah, the sound was a bit muffled, Brad. I think.
Okay, hopefully this one is a bit better. Can you hear me better now?
That does sound better.
Yeah, okay, it's I should really change these earbuds, as Chinese companies are very good if you don't use the products for more than 3 years. But yeah, did you catch that? Shall I repeat part of it? The TLDR is that I've done a PR where I'm awaiting, where we're like, if anybody wants to take a look at the implementation and the proposal, like this is a good time to propose better design ideas and to provide, and if you know better than me on the Gno VM, to provide some insight on how to better implement this into the Gno VM internals. But yes, otherwise the next steps in the implementation will be to fully support using Gno machine in the native function calls.
So I had linked here in the agenda 859.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there any points, comments that we want to note here in the call? Or?
Yeah, I'm reading the PR actually. We clearly need this PR or maybe another version, but we need something like this. Just so everyone understands at the end, all the functions you can call from a Gno contract will exist in a Gno file. So we can expect tools, which can be the editor, GoPLS, and everything to yeah, to just not have to care about how the VM works. So yeah, I clearly like this a lot. We will also have support for comments, and especially for the PR about PrevRealm that Albert is working on. Most of the things I think were about just having a title to name a function, and we clearly need when we create new concepts, and the concept can have multiple interpretations or the title can be ambiguous. We clearly need to work on making good titles and use comments to explain things with Godot. So yeah, Morgan, just tell us when you want a review on what part, because we need something like this. I'm just not sure how much time you need, especially since it's a proof of concept. And at the end of the proof of concept, if you can also try to size the work needed to make it not a proof of concept, but something automatic, etc., with the full code generation support, it will be very useful.
Yep. I'll give a quick review now to the code and point a few things out. If Michelle can yeah, let me share the screen. Okay, good. Yes. Okay, now for the exciting part, which is, will this thing work on Wayland? And hopefully you guys are seeing my screen now. Yes?
Yeah.
Good. I always love it when Linux works, especially because that doesn't happen very often.
Don't say that out loud, please.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So as an example, this is the SHA-256 package. So in red was the old version of it, where, you know, it's an internally called like package internal crypto SHA-256. And instead now we just have a function declaration here. And then we have a function with the same signature implemented in Go code, which implements that Go standard library crypto SHA-256 to call the same function. Then we have the standard, the code generator, which for now is also in a temporary directory. I mean, I need to move that because there's a better place to put it, I think, in the MISC folder. But after the code generation, which is also done with the Go templates based on internal structures, then this is like the same thing happening for the math package. So we have like where's native? Yes, here we are. This is native.gno, which has the definition for a bunch of native functions which are implemented like in assembly, even in Go, like float 32 bits and float 51 bits. Then we have like the equivalent in Go code here with the same function declaration. And you know, this through the standard the code generator will create the bindings which are implemented like this. So you have this is essentially like a similar thing to what was already done in stdlibs.go, which is like where this whole discussion is coming from, like this file which has all the native bindings. So one of the things I'd be looking like for some help is that in the GNU VM, like there were some changes that I needed to put. This was like mostly for debugging. I don't know if we want to keep this like having stack trace in this part, which is in the parse file function. But yeah, in this part, like no, yeah, specifically this one. So in nodes.go, it happens that when like we call define native for the new native functions, because the functions already exist in the GNU code, like the GNU code is aware that they exist and they exist as names within the package. And this is something that I think we want, because it allows like for to have a function signature for calling native functions also within a package. But what the problem is then, that if we try to define a native function, which is already defined in the Gno code, then calling this function in test cases will yield instead of the result, like I remember there was this is float 5, so it's not entirely visible, but like we have, let me zoom in on this a bit. We have tests files float 4.no. Yes, this is the first one having troubles, but this should be fixed. Which I stumbled before. And then there's float 5.stdlib, float 5 stdlibs, which instead, like the output that you get, without the part changing the old function name to be uncallable, so which is nodes.go, this one. So what you get here is that the first line of the output is instead going to be 3.402 and then float 32 bits. So it's just that the name of the function is printed. And I think the reason for that is like for how println works and for how function is actually pre-processed when this thing happens, which is not very correct. But and I sort of I need better investigation in order to sort of figure this out. And then like with the current implementation, I tried like implementing in stdlibs.go. There's like, if we go further down from here, you'll see that we have an os.now function, native function. I tried re-implementing this, which needs to use the GNOME machine context. And that created a whole bunch of panics in the index in the tests, which I sort of, at that point, I just decided, okay, let's get this PR out first and get some feedback, as I've poured a lot of work into this already. But yeah, like I'd like to understand, somebody who also wants to try out like writing some native functions using this and seeing what goes wrong and so on. That would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, these are my current roadblocks, and matter of investigation we'll be focusing on in the next few weeks. As for your time frame on this, I think it's reasonably within the next month. I'd like to see a first version of this PR merged, but only after we've done all the careful considerations about this design and any other designs. I don't think this is something that we need to rush necessarily, but as you said, Manfred, is something which is important at this stage.
I was thinking about something, since we have the goal to maintain a documentation file for compatibility, where the goal is to say this stdlib is fully ported, partially ported, etc. I think your stdgen.go file can be very useful here. So at the end, it's not only about making life easier to convert something you asked, but maybe it could just be nearly automatic, or maybe just generate a diff of what the current state factually between the source code of Go and GNO.
Yeah.
Yeah, really looking forward for this PR. Thank you.
So I think we touched on it already, but there was the issue 667.
Yeah, we're waiting for J last review.
Okay. Does it need to be covered for people or?
No, I think, yeah, we spoke. Oh, sorry, no, yes. We are just waiting for Jay's last review. He told me today that he will review it soon. So it should be merged soon, except if we find something different. But yeah, I think we are okay now.
Okay. Then looks like we wanted to cover the testnet Gno.land 4.
Yeah. So basically, we have a list of existing things that we wanted to add in the testnet 4. One is a security fix about the way we can use the bunker module from a realm without a prefix. So you can basically
An issue or a pull request to share here?
let me find it. I think it's one of the pinned issues, the 362.
Okay.
Oh, it's not up to date on this point. So the one is about an issue raised or fixed by Dong.land, if I remember correctly, about the bunker module. So yeah, the idea is to make the bunker module able to generate any native coin you want from a contract, but prefixed by your contract. So you can't just try to generate another coin. So let me just update the PR. So it's not updated. So in my opinion, testnet 4 has two main goals. One is to just make a more updated version. So having the new faucet, having namespace support would be great. Namespace support will be the beginning of starting to make things like not only demo but also mul / Albert / J / etc. in the prefix of the realms. And something secured by the chain. I would love to see the fix of the bunker module because right now, we have the GNOT balance doesn't mean anything on the testnet 3. And then there was a question about should we make the testnet for a multi-node testnet, or another option is to say, okay, we have two testnets. One which is test 4 in terms of it's a single node, it's easy to update and etc. But it's focused on people building and using contracts. Well, we can have another testnet on the side. Maybe we can have a branch that will date regularly, and the other testnet maybe won't have a number, but it's designed for multi-node experience. So we make like we do with the proof of stake chains. Maybe we have a repo where people can register their node IP address, etc. And at the end, this is a testnet that maybe can be refreshed, I don't know, on a daily basis based on the configuration. So we can also experiment the multi-node in good conditions. So one of the options is to have a unique testnet for in multi-node. Another one is to keep numbered testnets with a focus on the product, the language, the VM, the features, and having something on the side, another testnet dedicated for infrastructure people. So what do you think, guys? What do you want to see in the testnet 4? And what's your opinion on this? One testnet with multi-node versus two testnets for two distinct reasons.
I'm always going to lean towards the side of having one testnet with multi-nodes. It just makes,
Yeah, right now, the advantage of having a single node is that if we want to replay all the transactions after changing some parameters, we can. If we don't do this, we have to, maybe it will work. Maybe, actually, yes, sorry. In case of multi-nodes, and I don't know, we need to date something, we need to change a parameter, we need to date something and replay all the transactions. Either it won't work or require to ping everyone, signal, etc. Or maybe it will work, but will disconnect everyone. So in terms of comfort, having two testnets can help because one of the testnets is dedicated to bootstrap and recreate a cluster every day with a parameter. So we can try to make the genesis, the initial connections and exiting it. So we can try on daily basis to manage clusters. On the other end, we have a unique testnets, which is not designed to be shut down every day, to be restarted every day. So we can, in my opinion, we should split, but yeah, both make sense actually. If we want to make the testnet for the first one with multiple nodes, we can, but probably not with as much flexibility as we can have with a dedicated testnet that could be actually managed by infrastructure nodes with a dedicated repository, configurations, etc. It's mostly a way to have something where we can experiment without caring about making noise, because I don't want the main repo to become something where everyone will make PRs to get the configurations, etc. So maybe it's better to focus on multi-nodes on one side. Another one is about the demonstration of the VM. And later, when we will have proof of contribution, when we will have the realm r/system/validators, we can make something fully on-chain with a single start of the blockchain and addition of new nodes with transactions. Because that's what we will have for the mainnet. We will start with probably a single node, make transactions against a special realm to whitelist new infrastructure nodes. But that's not ready yet. So if we start a testnet for multiple nodes, it will be more like a proof of stake genesis with a list of initial validators. Maybe on Block, you can tell us what's your opinion on this, because if you really want to participate in the test for and not have another network, maybe you can try to work on a simple validator special realm that will be used to replace the configuration in live. So yeah, we can do it. We can easily add your node once deployed. But if the goal is to have multiple nodes with configuration files like proof of stake with Google Docs or GitHub, I think we should not mix it with the other test for, which is actually a good way for anyone, users and builders, to discover the current version of Gno.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we have multi-nodes for testnet 4, because we need the block data for GNOScan and Adena, right? So if we can participate as a node operator, it would be really good for us. And
what I don't understand is why you could not just connect as a full node if you want live data instead of looking for transactions for a PC.
Yeah, we can do that, but we need multi-node eventually, right? So I think the early that we can start testing multi-node is good for the Gno.land project. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
100%.
Yeah, but I also agree that we need to start early. What I don't know if it's better to make it on test 4 or on a dedicated testnet for multiple nodes. So another testnet may be more focused on Tendermint 2 than on GNU actually. I don't know. I agree we should start early, and I'm even okay to start the multiple testnet tomorrow before test 4 actually. The question is, how much is it a bad idea to have two test nets, one more for infrastructure and another which with the current state of the VM and content?
Yeah, I'm curious what specifically is holding us back from having a multi-node testnet.
For me, it's because since we don't have proof of stake and we don't have the validator realm to add new nodes in live, etc., it will be something somewhere in between with a genesis of validators. And I think this makes sense, but it's more a way to test Tendermint2 or Gno VM across multiple nodes for determinism, etc. But it's something I think it will be more manual, where we have configuration files where we want to extend the genesis, update the TCP ports. So yeah, things that are common for proof of stake chains. But the main repo of Gno right now, since we are not in mainnet, and since when we'll be in mainnet, it won't be something with configuration files, but something with on-chain configuration. For me, it's strange to hijack the main repo with this temporary approach. I think that many people wants to become. I think that many people wants to be in the mainnet in the Genesis validator set. We have many people that show interest, but they're not contributor actually. So I'm okay to say, okay, let's try with a massive amount of nodes. Anyone can join, but I want to prevent. If you look at the 80 first PRs in the pull request list of this project, it will be only about registering as a validator, etc. I think we have two topics: one about testing multiple nodes, and one to showcase Gno actually. So that's why I suggest splitting, but we can do the other options. The other option, I just don't know how it will. What will happen, because I just fear that we'll have just many people registering themselves, opening PRs to update the configuration, or that we will just manually. Actually, ideally for me, I would love to not manage this testnet. If Gno.land want to manage it, I think it would be okay to encourage other people to create their own multiple node testnets. I don't want to make support for this at the moment, actually. As soon as we have the r/system/validator realm, yeah, we start, it starts becoming something important. And actually, it will be fully on-chain management. So it becomes okay because we won't receive PRs to update the Genesis and restart, etc. So maybe just make this. Maybe either we encourage people to create their own multiple node testnets, unofficial ones, but we can still speak about them. Or maybe someone should work on the initial V1 of the validator sets realm, and we make the multiple node, but not in the proof of stake way, in the Gno way, without PR and issues and support. And yeah, I don't want the core team to just make support on this. I want the core team to be aware of the bugs, especially if we have issues with determinism. But yeah, I don't like the idea of making a proof of stake campaign. Many blockchains start proof of stake testnets and mainnet for multiple nodes for multiple months before. And clearly, I would love to have this experience about Tendermint2 and Gno. But yeah, that's not the priority of the monorepo and of the core team. At the moment, it will become.
Okay, just to make sure I understand, you want to have validator set management on the realm itself, right? So not through any kind of configuration files or anything like that.
Ideally, yes. The goal with proof of contribution is that we have a realm that basically wait for a DAO decision to whitelist, blacklist, slash, whatever makes sense in the proof of contribution design. So yeah, we should have DAO able to change the validator sets. And then the goal is to have a very simple genesis, and we whitelist new nodes, And yeah, by doing this, we replace the need of having proof of stake and automatic voting power and automatic discovery of validators, because we won't have this. Anyone can run a validator without being registered, without being whitelisted, so more a full node. That's what I suggested to Dongwon for his need for GNOScan. And on the other side, yeah, we won't have all the things related to proof of stake and automatic voting power and discoverability. And I don't want to manage Genesis files that we update each time someone wants to join the Genesis set. So an option is to wait for a community effort to bootstrap other nodes. I think someone made it. And I remember that someone made an unofficial testnet with multiple nodes already. Maybe Anarcher, not sure. And yeah, I suggest making the official testnet a multi-node one as soon as we make it the GNO way with a realm validator realm.
Yeah.
Here it will make sense. It will prevent what I don't want, which is spam on GitHub or spam or from the core team in terms of support.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. POS networks in Ethereum usually solve this by basically pre-deploying a smart contract before the chain even runs. And within some kind of Genesis configuration, they say, okay, well, you get your validator set from this address. And the node, when it starts, it has like some kind of protocol logic where it does a state transition to read the validator set from the contract. And anytime it updates the validator set, it updates the contract itself. So I'm guessing we could probably do something similar. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the idea. The idea for the chicken egg problem, it can be about the way we will whitelist, blacklist at package with a username reservation. It can be the way we manage validators. It can be the way we will manage IBC and zones suggested by Arium. We will have r/system/XXX contracts. And r/system contracts won't exist at Genesis, but the chain, so the recurrent of what we have with in terms of customization with Cosmos SDK, it will be different. In GNU, we'll have the chain configuration that will say, look at this realm if it exists. If it does not exist, just skip this filter, this function, whatever. And as soon as it exists, use it either by calling a function or by just looking at a specific variable. And by doing this, we can make something where you start a node, you don't need to have the validator system. If someone wants to make proof of stake, they can. But in our case, it will be okay. By default, we have a single node. And at the moment, Tendermint 2 wants to know what is the current validator set. Instead of trying to look at voting power, etc., it will just look at this contract. And as you said for Ethereum, I think we'll do the same. We'll make something where when you initialize, you check, and then you can put in cache, and you just monitor if the contract change, actually. If it change, you flush the cache, you get the new validator set, and that's all. So at the end, the chain starts without the contract, but it has a condition. If the contract does not exist, it knows what to do. So in terms of validator, it's just about having only one node, the dev net, the local net, the whatever net. You publish something in the Genesis or manually. It's up to you as a developer, I don't know. And then when it exists, it can be something automatic. It can be something based on a DAO. It can be something based on voting power, but from proof of contribution, we can define later. And we have this hybrid approach of having on-chain configuration that goes with what we have in mind to have a blockchain that can last for 100 years with minimal maintenance in terms of nodes. That's not, we can clearly make upgrades. And if it's really something important, we will make a very manual testnet with multiple nodes. But at the moment, I suggest testing multiple nodes on the side with low support from the core team, and working on this validator set that will also help us to not only test GNO, but Tendermint 2 evolutions, this proof of contribution alpha, and yeah, the whole system. I think we need to go to switch.
Yes, I was going to say it's at the time. There were a few more topics, but we'll just add them to the call in 2 weeks. I think we didn't get to cover No Studio with Ilker. And then there's some other topics that we've added to the list for the call in 2 weeks. So thank you everyone for your time.
Yeah, can I just add something about testnet 4? Can I ask people from the core team and partners, one, to experiment, especially for Gno.land, to connect to the existing mainnet, to the existing testnet 3, and tell me if you have any issues, because you should not have issues to connect and synchronize locally what's happening, and it could be a good solution for GNOSCAN. So first thing, tell us if you have any problem to connect as a node which is not an official validator, but synchronized in terms of peer-to-peer. And second topic is there someone, maybe Miloš, interested in the core team to dig more about the multi-node experience? And if that's the case, or maybe Albert actually, if that's the case, I would encourage to have an initiative on the side, and maybe we can still keep it in as a core team effort, or we can do it from a community effort at the moment. But the goal is to make something on the side with a dedicated repo and wiki and issues and whatever, because most of the content will be temporary, because we won't start the Genesis as we will do later. And I clearly want to not slow down infrastructure people, and I don't want to spam the main repo. So first thing, confirm that you can connect and synchronize the current testnet 3. And second thing, find someone in the core team, Albert, Miloš, whoever, to start this initiative on their side. You just rent a server and you work with Gno.land and other people that want to create a multi-node testnet.
We can also create I don't know if there is, but I don't think so. Like a Docker compose file with like a 3 nodes with the 3 nodes for like a simple setup and try. Like I know many Cosmos chain are doing this.
Feel free to do this. For this, you can use the monorepo, but also feel free to just create another repo for testnet use cases, discussions, registration, keeping I don't know, CSV, whatever file makes sense.
Sure.
And the day it's stable enough, let's make the only testnet a multi-node one. But at the moment, I suggest just confirming full node works, and testnet can be done without changing the whole roadmap.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Thanks, guys. See you in 2 weeks.